The moment Detective James Carter opened the evidence bag, his stomach dropped. Inside, wrapped in a plastic sheet, was something the police had never expected. At first glance, the case seemed straightforward. A missing woman, routine investigation. But this changed everything. Fingerprints covered the bag. Some matched the victim, yes, but others were unknown. And then there was a note. Short, clear, terrifying. You're looking in the wrong place. Carter froze. The room was silent except for the hum of the fluorescent lights. His partner, Officer Mia Reynolds, leaned closer. Her eyes were wide. She whispered, This isn't what we thought. The bag trembled slightly in Carter's hands, as if warning them. He looked around the evidence room. Every case they had worked before felt normal. Every routine investigation led somewhere predictable. But not this one. Not tonight. Not now. And then the phone rang. A recorded message played. The voice was distorted, but the words were unmistakable. You will regret following this trail. The line went dead. Carter's heart raced. The room felt colder. He knew they had crossed into dangerous territory. Someone was watching, waiting, and the evidence in his hands was just the beginning. 3 days earlier, the case had seemed simple. Anna Hughes, a 32-year-old schoolteacher from Westbridge, disappeared without a trace. Her car was found parked outside a grocery store, doors locked, no signs of a struggle. Local police assumed a voluntary disappearance or a temporary personal issue. Nothing about the scene suggested danger. Carter had been called in because of a small detail no one else noticed. Anna's bag, left neatly on the passenger seat, contained a receipt from a gas station 20 miles away from Westbridge. The time stamp indicated it had been used hours after she was last seen. That was strange. And the gas station camera caught her walking alone, but someone was following her from a distance, careful to stay out of frame. The investigation began slowly. Carter and Reynolds interviewed friends, family, co-workers. Anna's husband, Mark Hughes, said she had seemed anxious lately, but he didn't know why. Friends mentioned she had started staying later at the school library and walking alone at night to clear her head. Everything seemed normal, routine. Routine, until the evidence bag appeared. The bag contained more than just fingerprints and the note. There were strands of hair, a single glove, a small digital recorder with files still accessible. One file, labeled Westbridge, played a low audio track of Anna's voice. She was talking, softly, almost whispering. Carter froze. The voice said, Please, someone help me. I can hear him. The sound cut abruptly. The recorder clicked off. Reynolds pulled back. This isn't just a disappearance, she said. This is planned. Someone knew what they were doing. Carter nodded. He examined the glove. It was worn, no prints inside, but faint traces of soil suggested movement through multiple outdoor locations. Whoever did this knew the town, the streets, the alleys. They were organized, careful, patient. The first break came when Carter analyzed the gas station footage more closely. Zooming in, he noticed a reflection in a window, a car parked nearby, the make and model partially visible. It wasn't stolen, but it didn't belong to Anna or anyone in her family. Tracking the license plate led to a dead end, fake registration. Then came the security footage from the library. Anna had been there, exactly as friends said, but a shadow lingered. A man, standing near the exit, watching her silently. Camera angles showed him moving just out of frame when library staff passed. He was always careful, precise, almost like a ghost. Every detail deepened the mystery. Every lead pointed to someone skilled at hiding. Carter and Reynolds reviewed the digital recorder. It contained more files. Background noises, faint traffic sounds, occasionally a dog barking. Locations could be triangulated, but only vaguely. The watcher had planned this meticulously. And that's when they found the first real clue. Hidden inside the recorder's memory, someone had left a single video file. It showed Anna walking down a narrow alley at night. Behind her, barely visible, a dark figure followed. Not close enough to catch on first watch, but there, watching, silent. The camera angle suggested the recorder had been placed nearby, intentionally, as if someone wanted the police to find this evidence. Carter's hands shook slightly. This was no ordinary kidnapper. This was someone who wanted to play a game. Someone who wanted to control the narrative, to taunt the authorities. Then the phone rang again. This time it was a call from Anna's home. Her voice, her real voice, was distorted through a voice changer. Stop. Stop looking, it said. or it's the last time you see anyone alive. Carter slammed the phone down. The room seemed smaller now. Shadows from the shelves stretched across the walls. Reynolds whispered, "We're in over our heads." Carter nodded silently. He looked back at the bag. The fingerprints. The note. The glove. The recorder. Everything in his hands screamed danger. But there was one more thing. Something he hadn't noticed before. A faint smudge on the inside of the bag, a partial print. Not Anna's. Not any of the known suspects. Unknown. Carter exhaled. This print could belong to the person responsible. Or it could belong to someone watching them. And then, as they examined the bag, the office lights flickered. A shadow moved outside the evidence room window. Carter froze. Reynolds' eyes widened. The window shook slightly, as if someone had just tapped it. And a single word was scratched into the glass from the outside. The scratching on the glass lingered in Carter's mind. Next. Just one word, but it carried weight. He motioned Reynolds to stay close as he cautiously opened the evidence room door. The corridor outside was empty, silent except for the hum of the building's ventilation. Yet every instinct screamed danger. Carter reached the window. Outside, the parking lot was dimly lit. Only one car sat near the far corner, a black SUV with tinted windows, engine off. No license plate. No movement. Just shadows. He felt the chill creep up his spine. Whoever had left that message was still watching. They called in backup. Officers arrived within minutes, surrounding the building, checking each corner. Cameras were reviewed. Nothing unusual. No one caught moving. Yet the sense of being observed never left Carter. He knew this was no ordinary criminal. The team went through the evidence again. The partial fingerprint on the bag, the video file showing Anna in the alley, and the recorder now became the centerpiece of the investigation. Tech analysts worked to enhance the audio, remove background noise, and attempt location triangulation. The small noises in the background, traffic hum, distant dogs, a faint train whistle, began to tell a story. It was painstaking. Hours passed. Carter and Reynolds barely moved from the evidence table, reviewing every frame. That's when they noticed something new in the video. A shadow moved across a doorway Anna passed. It wasn't subtle. It lingered, watching her. It was deliberate, patient. Carter froze. "Reynolds," he whispered. "This wasn't random. This person knew she'd be there. Knew the cameras. Knew exactly what she'd do." Reynolds shivered. "And now they know we know." They traced the alley location. Security footage from nearby streets confirmed a car parked several blocks away, engine running but no one in sight. The license plate was fake. The SUV they had seen outside the evidence room matched this description. The watcher had been here before, and they would be back. Meanwhile, the detectives interviewed Anna's co-workers again. A janitor mentioned seeing a man around the school at unusual hours, always careful not to be seen. He described the man as average-looking, mid-30s, wearing dark clothing. No one noticed him, but now, with hindsight, the pieces started to fit. Then came the next discovery. Anna's smartwatch, previously thought lost, was found in a drainage tunnel near the alley. Carter and Reynolds arrived on site. The tunnel was narrow, dark, and smelled of wet concrete and mildew. They found the watch, still functional, though mud-streaked. Its last recorded location showed movement toward the industrial district on the edge of town. Carter frowned. Whoever was following Anna had moved her deliberately through the city. Not a struggle, not a random abduction, but controlled, calculated, silent. Back at headquarters, the recorder revealed another chilling file. Anna's voice, again whispering, describing a man following her. "He's behind me. I can feel it. I can't run fast enough." Then silence. Carter pressed pause. Silence like that was not accidental. The watcher knew exactly how far the authorities could go, and how far they could push Anna without leaving evidence. Hours later, Carter received a tip. A resident reported seeing a man disposing of a large, black duffel bag near a riverbank late at night. Officers went to the site and found nothing, except for faint tire tracks in the mud. The pattern matched the SUV from the alley and the parking lot outside the evidence room. It was all too precise. Then the extreme event came. Carter's phone buzzed. A video message. No text, no number. The footage was from a hidden camera somewhere near the river. It showed Anna, alive, but restrained in a narrow, abandoned boathouse. Her eyes widened as the camera panned slowly across the room. The walls were marked with scratches. Rope frayed on the floor. And in the corner, a shadow moved. A man, watching her. The camera zoomed slightly, showing a second figure, someone Carter did not recognize. The video cut suddenly, replaced by a single message typed across the screen. "You're too late if you move wrong." Carter dropped the phone. The weight of the investigation pressed down on him. Reynolds stood silently beside him, pale and tense. The team realized the simple missing person case had become a deadly game. Whoever controlled this scenario was clever, always one step ahead, and, most terrifying of all, still in control. The boathouse. Anna. The shadow. And now, the evidence had become a warning. Carter stared at the video again. Anna, tied up in the boathouse, eyes wide with fear, watched the shadows around her. The second figure, the one they didn't recognize, moved silently, almost like a predator circling. Carter's stomach tightened. Whoever this was, they were precise, experienced, and patient. He grabbed his coat. Reynolds followed. They had a location from the metadata of the hidden camera. It was an old boathouse near the edge of Westbridge, abandoned for years, a place no one visited. Perfect for someone who wanted to remain unseen. The drive there was tense. Every passing streetlight felt like a warning. Carter and Reynolds stayed silent, radios off to avoid detection. The wind rattled the SUV, and Carter's hands tightened on the wheel. He kept thinking about Anna's whispered words on the recorder. "I can feel him. I can't run fast enough." Arriving at the riverbank, they surveyed the area. The boathouse was barely visible through thick fog. Muddy footprints led up to the side door. Carter motioned to Reynolds. They moved quietly, flashlights off at first, relying on night vision. Every snap of a branch, every rustle of leaves made their hearts pound. Inside the boathouse, the air was damp, thick with the smell of river water and mold. Wooden beams groaned underfoot. Carter's flashlight swept across the room. Rope frayed on the floor, a small table knocked over. And in the corner, Anna. Alive. Trembling. "Detective Carter," Reynolds whispered, her voice shaking. "She's okay. She's okay." Anna looked at them. Relief and fear mingled in her eyes. He said not to move. He said you'd never find me." Her voice broke. Carter nodded, signaling her to stay low. They began untangling her ropes slowly, careful not to make a sound. Every second felt like a lifetime. The shadows in the corners of the boathouse seemed to move. Carter's instincts screamed. Someone else was here. Then came a soft click. A camera flashed briefly on the ceiling. Carter froze. They hadn't seen it before. Someone was still recording them. Still watching. Anna whispered. "They are everywhere. They've been in my apartment, my school." "I can't." Her voice trembled. Carter reassured her, but he knew they were not safe. Whoever orchestrated this was skilled. They could be anywhere, observing, waiting, planning the next move. After securing Anna, Carter contacted the tech team. They pulled all hidden camera feeds, cross-referencing street cameras near the boathouse, the alley, and Anna's previous routes. The results were chilling. Multiple unidentified vehicles had been following Anna for weeks, always staying out of direct view. Every movement she made was tracked. Every decision anticipated. Reynolds checked the riverbank. Disturbances in the mud suggested someone had left recently. Footprints led to a small dock on the far side. Carter signaled officers to approach. The dock was empty, but a piece of paper floated in the water, a map. Coordinates. No explanation. No note. Just numbers scribbled hastily. Back at headquarters, Carter reviewed the recorder again. New files appeared. Background noise, faint breathing, occasional footsteps, all time-stamped. Some locations matched previous sightings. Others were new, deeper into the outskirts of the city. Whoever was behind this wasn't just stalking Anna. They were testing the police. Mocking them. Leading them through a trail of breadcrumbs. Then the extreme event happened. A live feed popped up on Carter's computer screen. Not from the recorder. Not from their tech team. Someone else had hacked in. The feed showed the boathouse, empty now, Anna gone. The camera panned slowly, stopping on a single object in the corner, a blood-stained scarf. A note appeared on the screen, typed in real time. She was close. Now, she belongs to me. The lights in the office flickered. Carter's phone buzzed with an unknown number. A distorted voice whispered, "Follow or lose her forever." Reynolds grabbed his arm. "Carter, what do we do now?" He looked at the empty boathouse on the screen, the scarf, the note. The case had started as simple, routine, even predictable. But now, it was clear. Whoever was behind this was always one step ahead, and Anna's life hung in the balance. And the trail was about to get darker. Carter stared at the empty boathouse feed. Anna was gone. The blood-stained scarf lay in the corner, a silent warning. His heart raced. Whoever did this wasn't just careful, they were cruelly precise, leaving just enough for the police to follow but never enough to catch them. Reynolds paced the room. "We need to trace that feed," she said. "Someone's controlling it remotely." Carter nodded. The tech team worked feverishly, tracing the IP addresses, server hops, and possible locations. Every lead seemed to vanish into a digital fog. Whoever this watcher was, they had the skills of a professional hacker, a stalker, and a strategist combined. Hours passed. They reviewed Anna's phone records, messages, GPS data. Nothing obvious. But then Carter noticed something subtle, a series of pings to a public Wi-Fi hotspot near the industrial district. Small, almost invisible, but consistent. The device that made them matched none of Anna's usual gadgets. Someone was tracking her even through mundane digital footprints. Carter and Reynolds went to the hotspot location. An abandoned warehouse stood at the edge of the district, boarded windows, rusted doors. Footprints in the mud suggested someone had left recently. They entered cautiously, flashlights cutting through the gloom. Inside, the walls were bare, except for a single laptop on a crate. It was still on. The screen showed multiple live feeds, streets, alleys, parking lots, all of Westbridge. Carter's blood ran cold. This was bigger than Anna. This was a network of surveillance, a silent army of watchers. And someone was using it to control her movements, every step, every breath. Reynolds pointed to a folder labeled Hughes. Carter clicked it. Video files played. Anna at the gas station, Anna leaving the library, Anna walking alone at night. But then the camera angle shifted. It showed Anna struggling, restrained, moving through unknown streets. He recognized none of the paths. A sudden noise echoed in the warehouse. Carter froze. A door creaked. They weren't alone. Then the lights flickered. A shadow passed across the far wall. Carter and Reynolds trained their flashlights on the figure. It darted behind a stack of crates. They approached carefully, calling out, but the shadow moved faster than expected, slipping into a hidden passage at the back. They followed, entering a narrow corridor lined with dusty boxes. Somewhere above, a hatch rattled. Someone was above them, watching, anticipating. The corridor led to a small room. Inside, dozens of monitors glowed faintly. Each screen displayed a live feed from different locations around Westbridge. Some showed empty streets, others showed people they recognized. Carter realized with horror, this person wasn't just following Anna, they were watching the entire town. Then, on the largest screen, Anna appeared. She was tied to a chair in a dimly lit basement. She was alive, but scared. Her eyes widened as the camera panned slowly around the room. A figure stepped into the frame, a man, tall, face obscured, moving deliberately. Carter's stomach dropped. This was the person who had orchestrated everything. Every disappearance, every trace, every misleading clue. And then a new screen flickered to life, displaying a live video feed of Carter and Reynolds themselves, standing in the warehouse. The voice that came through the speaker was distorted, cold, and clear. "You're close. Too close. Step wrong, and you'll never see her again." The room's lights went out. The monitors went black, except for one. The screen showed a countdown. Hours, minutes, seconds. Carter and Reynolds stared, frozen. The extreme event hit. The countdown began, signaling that Anna's life was running out, and the watcher was still in control, orchestrating the next move. The case they had thought was simple was no longer a disappearance. It was a trap, and someone was still watching. The countdown loomed over Carter and Reynolds like a shadow they couldn't escape. The numbers ticked relentlessly on the monitor. Hours, minutes, seconds. Carter's hands trembled as he reached for the radio. "All units, we need every team in Westbridge on high alert. This is no longer a simple missing person case. We have a live hostage." Reynolds moved to the laptop, attempting to trace the feed. It's bouncing through servers across the city, multiple locations. Whoever set this up knew exactly how to hide it. They are professionals. Carter exhaled sharply. And they are not done. They want us chasing shadows, wasting time, and every second counts for Anna. They began mapping Anna's past movements: the alley, the gas station, the library, and now the boathouse. Each location had traces, footprints, discarded items, a camera. It was a trail, meticulously planned, yet leaving just enough for the police to follow. Meanwhile, a forensic team worked on the black SUV seen near the boathouse. Mud samples matched the riverbank near the abandoned industrial area. Tiny fibers on the driver's seat matched Anna's sweater. It was proof she had been in that vehicle, confirming their fears. Hours dragged on as Carter and Reynolds coordinated teams across the city. They set up surveillance, closed off streets, and checked every camera feed. But the watcher always seemed a step ahead. Every lead they chased ended in a dead end or a misleading clue. Then, the extreme event intensified. The laptop chimed with a new live feed. Anna was now in a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Her hands were bound, and she was gagged, sitting on the floor. Shadows of two men loomed over her, moving slowly, deliberately. Carter's stomach turned. "We've got to move," he said, urgency in his voice. "She's not going to stay there for long." They raced to the location, police cars and sirens cutting through the night. The warehouse loomed ahead, dark and silent, save for the occasional flicker of light inside. Carter and Reynolds approached cautiously, flashlights in hand. Every instinct told them the watcher could be anywhere, inside, above, or behind them. Inside, the warehouse was enormous and empty except for scattered crates. But then came the sound of a footstep echoing across the concrete floor. Carter signaled Reynolds to stay low. They advanced slowly. Another footstep. Suddenly, a loud crash. A stack of crates toppled, revealing a hidden passage behind. The watchers had prepared escape routes. The realization hit. This wasn't just a simple kidnapping. This was a meticulously orchestrated plan to keep Anna moving, controlled, and always just out of reach. Reynolds whispered, "Carter, look at this." On the wall, spray-painted in red, was a message. "You're too late. She belongs to me now." Carter felt his chest tighten. Whoever did this had been watching, planning, and now taunting them directly. Every step they took, every lead they followed, had been anticipated. The extreme event hit again. From a dark corner of the warehouse, a figure emerged, masked and tall, holding Anna's scarf, the same one left in the boathouse. They moved silently toward a heavy steel door. Then, with one motion, the figure disappeared through it, leaving a trail of blood and the scent of fear behind. Carter and Reynolds rushed to the door. It was locked, heavy, and behind it, Anna's muffled cries echoed faintly. The watcher had disappeared again, and with them, Anna. The case had begun simple. A missing woman. Routine investigation. But now, it was clear. The police were dealing with someone who controlled every move, stayed invisible, and left nothing to chance. The city had become a maze, and the watcher was always one step ahead. The locked steel door loomed in front of Carter and Reynolds. Behind it, Anna's faint cries echoed, each one stabbing at their nerves. Carter pounded on the metal, his voice strained. "Anna, hold on, we're coming." Reynolds checked the sides of the warehouse. No sign of another exit, no shadows, nothing. Whoever orchestrated this was gone, leaving behind only fear and the evidence they had meticulously planned to be found. The tech team worked fast, trying to trace any signal from Anna's smartwatch, her phone, or the hidden cameras. Each attempt led them through layers of encrypted networks. It was as if the watcher had anticipated every possible move and blocked it before it could even begin. Hours passed as officers scoured nearby streets and abandoned buildings. Carter retraced Anna's steps, thinking through the timeline, the alley, the gas station, the library, the boathouse, and now this warehouse. Whoever was behind this had planned every step, every diversion, every clue for maximum effect. Reynolds uncovered something chilling on one of the hidden camera feeds. The footage showed Anna being moved again, this time through a narrow tunnel beneath the warehouse. The figure carrying her was careful, calculated, and methodical. Carter's stomach tightened. Every route they had secured had been compromised, every attempt anticipated. Back at headquarters, Carter reviewed the digital recorder once more. New files had appeared, showing Anna in another unknown location. Her face was pale, and she looked exhausted, but alive. She whispered to herself, "I need to stay calm. I can't panic." Reynolds leaned over his shoulder. "She's talking to herself, maybe for courage, or maybe she knows we're watching." Carter nodded, grim. The watcher had eyes everywhere. They had anticipated not only the police moves but Anna's reactions as well. Every choice she made had been monitored. They decided to follow the digital clues, tracing background sounds and subtle noises from the recorder. Faint traffic patterns, occasional dog barks, the hum of machinery, all triangulated to narrow her possible locations. They identified an industrial district on the outskirts of the city. The buildings were old, abandoned, perfect for hiding someone. Carter and Reynolds, along with a tactical unit, moved cautiously through the district. Rusted metal doors creaked underfoot, and shadows seemed to flicker at every corner. Every building, every alley, every darkened window felt like a trap waiting to spring. Then came the extreme event. From one of the abandoned warehouses, a figure emerged holding Anna. She struggled against the restraints, her muffled screams echoing through the empty streets. The watcher was tall, masked, moving with precise control. They stepped into the dim streetlight, and Carter realized with horror that the person wasn't acting alone. Another figure, smaller and faster, appeared from the shadows, cutting off any approach. Carter and Reynolds shouted commands. Officers moved forward. But before anyone could react, the figures vanished, slipping through hidden passages, tunnels, and doorways only the watcher could know. Anna's scarf, the same one that had appeared in the boathouse, fluttered briefly on the ground as if waving a final warning. Carter's voice was tight. They knew we were coming. Every step. Every move. Reynolds's face was pale. And they are not done yet. They are always ahead of us. The city had become a labyrinth, the watcher's game escalating. Every clue led to another dead end. Every lead brought more questions than answers. And somewhere, just beyond their reach, Anna was being moved again, deeper into the watcher's plan. Carter's hands were clammy on the steering wheel. The tactical team had tracked Anna's location to a dead zone in the industrial district, but by the time they arrived, the street was empty. The watcher had vanished again, leaving nothing but footprints that led to a locked gate. Reynolds scanned the area with a flashlight. Shadows stretched across the rusted walls, every sound amplified in the still night. "They are testing us," she said quietly. "They want us chasing shadows." Carter nodded. Every instinct screamed danger. Every past move of the watcher had been a step ahead of them. He knew the only way to save Anna was to anticipate their next move. Back at headquarters, tech teams analyzed every digital footprint, every trace of activity from the recorder, the cameras, and Anna's devices. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The watcher favored high, elevated positions to survey the city. Their escape routes were all along rooftops, alleyways, and underground tunnels. It was a deadly maze, mapped out in advance. Carter studied the map. There were only a few locations left that matched the pattern. One stood out, an old factory on the outskirts, abandoned for years, surrounded by dense woods. It was isolated, easy to defend, and perfect for someone wanting to stay hidden. Hours later, the team approached the factory. The doors were heavy, chained, and locked, but faint noises came from inside. Carter motioned everyone to halt. They had to be careful. Any wrong move could put Anna in immediate danger. Inside, the building was a maze of machinery, broken pipes, and shadowed corners. Carter's flashlight beam landed on a figure tied to a chair. Anna. Her eyes were wide, terrified, but she recognized them. Relief flickered across her face. Then came the extreme event. From the shadows, the masked watcher stepped into the light. But this time, they were not alone. Multiple figures appeared from the darkness, all masked, all moving in perfect coordination. Carter and Reynolds realized with horror they had walked into a trap. The lead watcher raised a hand. In it was a small remote. The sound of a locking mechanism clicked. Doors slammed shut throughout the factory, cutting off any escape. Lights flickered. "You're too late," the watcher said calmly. "And now, the game truly begins." Carter grabbed his radio. "We need backup, now." But the signals were jammed. The tactical team's radios went dead. Carter's phone failed. They were cut off. Anna struggled against her restraints. Her muffled cries echoed in the cavernous factory. Carter and Reynolds exchanged a tense glance. They were outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and trapped. The watcher's figures closed in slowly, methodically. Every step calculated, every movement deliberate. Carter realized they had underestimated their opponent. This wasn't just a single criminal. It was an orchestrated plan with multiple participants. Then a loud bang echoed through the factory. Sparks flew from broken machinery. The floor shook, and one of the masked figures lunged forward, dragging a large crate toward the center of the room. Carter's heart raced. He knew instinctively that whatever was inside that crate would change everything. And then the crate toppled. Inside, something moved. Something alive.